fragile moments from the dawn of Ashura to noon. Adapted from authentic Shia sources, including Al-Irshad, Bihar al-Anwar, Al-Luhuf, and Tariq al-Tabari. The desert of Karbala was silent beneath the darkness of Ashura's final night. From the tents of Imam Hussain came the sounds of Quran recitation, prayer, and whispered supplications. His companions spent the night preparing their souls for sacrifice. Then, as dawn approached, the call of fajar rose over the burning sands. It was not an ordinary adhan. Every word carried sorrow, and every phrase felt like a farewell to the world. Imam Hussain stepped from his tent with calmness and dignity. According to the narrations, the companions' faces shone with faith, despite the certainty of death before them. The Imam led the Fajr prayer, and afterward he looked toward his loyal followers and said, "Be patient, for this trial will soon come to an end." These words filled their hearts with courage. Fear disappeared, and martyrdom became an honor greater than life itself. As the first light spread across the horizon, a man approached the Imam, trembling with regret. It was Hur ibn Yazid al-Riyahi, the commander who had once stopped the Imam from continuing his journey. Tears covered his face as he asked, "Will my repentance be accepted?" Imam Hussain replied with mercy, "Yes, Allah has accepted your repentance." Hur requested permission to fight first, and he entered the battlefield with complete devotion. His sacrifice became one of the greatest symbols of repentance and redemption in Islamic history. Soon, the enemy forces prepared for war. Historical reports describe Yazid's army as numbering over 30,000 soldiers, while only 72 loyal companions stood beside the Imam. Yet truth was never measured by numbers. On one side stood power, wealth, and weapons. On the other stood faith, loyalty, and sacrifice. Imam Hussain rode before the enemy lines and delivered his final sermon. "I have not risen for corruption or pride. I have risen to reform the nation of my grandfather." His words shook many hearts. Some soldiers lowered their eyes in shame, but worldly desires blinded them from accepting the truth. Then the companions began leaving, one after another, for martyrdom. Muslim ibn Ausija declared that even if he were killed many times, he would never abandon the Imam. Amr ibn Karza shielded the Imam with his body while arrows pierced him from every side. Soon, the young men of Banu Hashim entered the battlefield. Qasim ibn Hassan, the beloved nephew of the Imam, said, "To me, death is sweeter than honey." The Imam embraced him with tears in his eyes before sending him to the battlefield. Then came On and Muhammad, the sons of Lady Zainab Salam, who sacrificed their lives for truth and justice.
Martyrdom of Ali Akbar. When the youthful image of the Prophet entered the battlefield of Karbala, even the earth trembled and the skies filled with sorrow. As the spear pierced his chest, Imam Hussain cried out in grief, "After you, this world no longer holds any comfort for me." Martyrdom of Ali Asghar. The thirsty 6-month-old rested in his father's arms. Even the desert wept when an arrow pierced his tiny throat. Imam Hussain raised the blood toward the heavens and said, "O Lord, even this sacrifice is for your pleasure alone."
The most heartbreaking moment came when Hazrat Abbas rode toward the river to bring water for the thirsty children. Imam Hussain called after him with sorrow, "My brother, go slowly." But Hazrat Abbas hurried because the cries of thirsty children echoed from the tents, especially little Sakina Salam. When Hazrat Abbas fell in martyrdom, the Imam cried, "Now my back has been broken." Inside the tents, grief overwhelmed the women and children. Lady Zainab watched each martyr depart while the cries of thirsty children filled the camp. Yet even in those moments of pain, faith remained unshaken. As noon approached, Abu Thumama al-Sayyidi reminded the Imam that it was time for prayer. Despite arrows raining across the battlefield, Imam Hussain established the Zuhr prayer. His companions stood before him as shields, sacrificing their lives so that prayer would continue. By noon, nearly every companion had fallen. Karbala had become a land covered in sacrifice, loyalty, and blood. Yet through every tragedy, Imam Hussain stood firm with patience and trust in Allah.